Hello, I am back. I have returned. Probably not of anything that you are familiar with, but maybe so. I don't know. That was just like a lot of me just rambling once again. It comes and goes. But regardless, here I am. I'm here to speak with you. And you're probably like, well, why? It's nothing super big, nothing super important, nothing super special. I have a bunch of edited footage that I planned on getting rid of, right? Because it's taking up a lot of space on my computer, but there's also extra stuff that I planned on just doing in general, not just through like commentary and potentially gaming and whatnot, but just in content creation altogether. And I haven't really been sticking true to it. But to be fair, I have been caught up doing some other stuff, which has kept me a little bit busy. So naturally, I'm not going to be as tied into everything as what I could be. And that's okay. Sometimes that's just how it is. You're not always there. And sometimes things don't work out as well as you'd want them to. And that's fine. We are working through it and we are figuring it out. Why am I here today, though? You're probably wondering. Well, here is why I am here. I was watching a video the other night, I believe while I was at work, actually. One of my jobs that I work at is actually really relaxed in a sense of you're not really doing much of anything, and it's kind of just draining being there. But I'm not here to outright complain about that. What I am here to talk about is something that I heard a YouTuber talking about the other day while I was at work watching this video. This YouTuber came up while I was searching for some stuff, and he was talking about well, first off, it was a guy. It was a guy. He was playing Minecraft. He had little commentary running in the background while he was running Minecraft, which is awesome. I think that's super sick. I think that's super cool. I like being able to listen to commentary whenever I am bored or lonely or just whenever, maybe even going to sleep. Sometimes it's nice to listen to some people talk while you're going to bed, I don't know how many other people share that sentiment, but just for me, that's how I feel. Regardless, the reason why I brought it up is because this guy was talking about what he was going through in terms of life and his relationship. I guess past relationship. He felt like he was falling apart, or at least it seemed more so as if he was falling apart based off of everything that he was dealing with. It seemed like he was missing somebody, and he wanted to be able to talk with that person and hear everything that they had to say, hear their voice, see them in person, and he just wasn't able to do so. I know that I say it seems like, right? Like I am saying seems like a lot, and I am emphasizing seems like because I feel like that is just my interpretation of everything that I've seen based off of what he was saying. And to be honest, I feel like anybody who was watching it probably could have pieced together that exact same deduction, but still, I don't want to go, putting words into somebody's mouth. He just outright said that he missed this individual and that he wanted to essentially be friends with them and wanted to know how they were feeling and all this extra stuff. And I thought that was a super relatable thing, I think when you have been around somebody or given somebody enough of your attention, enough of your time, it's going to feel a little jarring when you don't have that same attention time in person within your vicinity to spend with, right? You're going to feel a little out of it. You probably would even feel a little crazy. And sorry, that's what it feels like that guy was going through. It felt like he was going crazy. He's spending all this time talking about this person that he essentially claims he knows he won't be able to see again. He won't be able to get back with again. And it seemed like something that he was really struggling with and something that he was just having an overall nasty time with. And it sucked. It sucked to hear and see that somebody was going through that, but at the same time, it felt, like I said, relatable. It's something that when life ends up kicking you while you're down or ends up being something that's in the way of everything, you, I think, start to lose pieces and parts of yourself that you used to be so fond of or pretty close to. And it seems like this guy was genuinely in that position where here he is talking about the people he misses, really the person he misses. He specifies that it is a female. So I use my context clues to deduce that this guy must have been in a relationship that turned sour. From the sounds of it, he says that this person left him with no warning, no explanation, no anything. So he was left in this position where he felt like he couldn't be himself. He couldn't reach out to this person. He missed this person. He wanted to understand what was going on with this person. He wanted to be around this person. He was just unable to do so. And that seems like a super disheartening thing because, I mean, when you're so close with somebody and you spend all your time with them, it doesn't have to just be like a partner, right? Somebody that you were in a relationship with. It could very well be a friend, a close friend, or family member, or just somebody that you've had something close with, you know? And you lose all that opening, all that time to have things go on with them. It's going to feel a little iffy, right? You're not going to feel the same. You're going to feel different because this was somebody that you were able to spend all your time with, that you were able to enjoy, that you were able to just hang out and do stuff with. And here that person is, gone, and you're juggling everything on your own. And it seems to be a very heavy thing going down, I think. But yeah. I just felt so bad for that man, right? Because I feel like we can all relate to something like that. If you've ever been close enough with somebody, if you've ever been able to keep it together, to be in that spot, to try to make things work, you're probably doing so much for that one person, right? Whether it's you sacrificing something or really, I think a lot of it is ultimately sacrifice, right? When you're spending time with somebody, chances are you're sacrificing that time. That's time that you could be using to do something that better helps you out, right? It's time that you could be using towards somebody else. And it's not just time, right? If you're doing like a lot with them, physically or whatever the case may be, you could be sacrificing money, you could be sacrificing gas, you could be sacrificing your emotional stability, or maybe even for some people your mental stability for that one person. And just hearing this guy go back and forth about how things were just so rough and how he was just not enjoying it at all overall seemed like a pretty heavy situation, right? I guess that's what I'm really trying to get at, is that I truly feel for this person. And during this time, I had a little playlist that I made based off of what I thought that this person was feeling, based off of things in my experience on how I was feeling. And I thought, yeah, this was perfect, right? This was something that you could definitely, this is something that I felt like I should say, right? I don't want to speak for everybody else, but this was something that I definitely felt like I could relate to, you know? Having somebody that you really like spending time with, you really like being around, and then being forced into the situation where you're unable to stick around with that person, you're unable to hang around that person, you're unable to talk with that person, love that person, spend time with that person, right? They are no longer the person that you know because you no longer know this person. You spent so much time apart, you spent so much time focusing on yourself or doing other things that you're not entirely tied in with that person anymore, and everything just feels a little disheartening when you're put in this position where you could be, hanging out with this person like you do all of the time or majority of the time, and now you're placed in a position where you can no longer see them, no longer talk to them. You don't know how they feel, you don't know what they're thinking, you don't know where they've been, and a lot of that stuff can be heavy, right? And it was definitely a different experience being able to see what it was somebody was going through, and to an extent roughly understand how they felt. And I got to give it to the guy. He was pushing through, right? He was laughing stuff off, like brushing it off, chuckling, like, oh yeah, I can't believe this is something that's even getting at me. And it's like, bro, you are completely valid, right? If you care about somebody and if you're hurting, then you are open to your emotions. You are open to your feelings. It is completely okay to be missing somebody and to be wanting somebody. And I don't want to say to be craving somebody, right? Because I don't want it to come off as this freak thing of, oh, yeah, this person is somebody I actually need, and if I don't get him, I'm gonna kill him. Like, whoa, whoa, hey, yeah, But that's not like what he was saying. That's not like what he was on. He was just like, yeah, it hurts not being able to see this person. It hurts not being able to communicate with this person. And I was like, yo, you're preaching to the choir, brother. I completely understand what you mean. I've been there. And I'm sure for anybody who's ever had somebody that close, like I said, it doesn't just have to be a relationship kind of standpoint where you're trying to make like a couple last with you and one other person, right? It could be the type of relationship where you are in a deep friendship, or where you are with family that you thought you could trust or stick with or stay with, right? It could be a good bunch of things. And it just sucked, It just really sucked hearing what bro was going through. And I wanted to talk about it. I didn't want to go putting his info out, even though he put his own info out, right? I'm not going to go adding him or doing whatever so that more people are aware of who it is. Chances are you probably won't ever actually see the video because bro's video is on the lower side of views, and while just looking up some stuff, the algorithm just so happened to bless me with his video. And I thought, man, I actually enjoy this. I miss being able to just outright talk, complain, open up about stuff and how I feel about stuff and what life's been doing for me, how I've been feeling life's been going on, and being able to hear somebody else talk about their experience. I mean, it kind of reignited that flame with me, right? And so, yeah, I feel like that was just the general gist of what it was I wanted to talk about. I do honestly feel like I could relate to dude. I doubt he'll ever actually see this. He sounded old enough to be, working and going to college and everything based off of how he talked and the way he kind of carried himself vocally, if that even makes sense. So, hey, bro, if you hear this, if you see this, I'm with you, man. I understand. It does suck. And like he said, you just got to keep pushing. You just got to focus on yourself. You got to center around like your happiness and center around what it is that you want in life and what it is you got to do to not just be successful, but also be in a place that is relatable. Not in a place that's relatable, but be in a place that keeps you grounded and helps you feel okay, and be in a place that works out for you, right? And I do appreciate what dude was talking about, right? I really do like the openness, to be vulnerable, to be weak, to talk about things that hurt, and while at the same time, trying to keep himself up, because there are going to be other people who are bound to see your video, right? There's no guarantee it's going to be 100,000. There's no guarantee that it's going to be 1,000, but there are going to be people who see your video, and they might be your target audience, or they might be people who can't relate at all. But even still, and he pointed it out, if you can post a video that might even help one person, then it's worth posting. And I agree, even if it's not outright help, but even then, I still feel like to a degree you're still helping, right? There could be people who are struggling to get to bed at night, and they want to just listen to people talk. It'll make them feel like they're not alone at night. And here you are yapping about how women mistreat you, and boom, you're making this person's day, or whoever it is day, helping them feel like they are not alone, and that not only have they gone through something similar, or maybe just being able to hear somebody yap for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, right, is enough for them to feel grounded. And I do enjoy that, right? I really do. So to that dude, yeah, I honor you, man. I respect you, not only for being able to open up and be honest about the stuff that is affecting you, but being able to get that stuff off of your chest, right? That's not something that you should always keep bottled up, because it'll come back, right? And it'll come back in like the ugliest, nastiest of ways. You'll end up attacking somebody who doesn't deserve it, or saying something that maybe you don't mean, but because of the mental state of where you are and a place of where you're at, it's not, it's not helping you to sit on it. So I think that is something positive that social media platforms and little escapes like YouTube and whatnot have opened up for people, is being able to speak your mind. You're essentially anonymous unless you decide to put your face on a screen or something, but other than that, yeah, nobody outright knows you. Nobody knows who you are. They just know a profile picture and a username, and occasionally a voice. And in this little dead time that you have, you're able to speak your truth about what it is that you feel to be true, regardless of if it's actually true or not. I mean, it doesn't matter. If you feel it to be true, then chances are everybody is going to listen. It doesn't mean everybody will agree. Maybe you'll get comments on your video talking about why you're wrong or why you're so right. But regardless, I do really enjoy that. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about after listening to the guy's video is, man, of all these people that I used to talk to, whether it was in a sense of having some kind of romantic relationship or it was completely platonic, these same people that I don't, hold on, there's a plane coming and it's loud and it sounds like that MF is falling out the sky. I don't like the sound of that. But, alright, yeah, even with that being said, yeah, there are people that I hadn't spoken to in a very long time, close people that used to be genuine friends that I would spend all my time with completely platonically, and then people who I felt like were more than just friends. I mean, it's not just I felt like, right? We were actually in romantic relationships. It would be a little weird if I felt like it, they didn't, and I just hung around them, torturing myself. But yeah, and every now and then I wonder how they are. I wonder what it is they're dealing with. I wonder what it is they're juggling to this day. I hadn't talked to them in a super long time. I hadn't kept up with them. I don't know if life's still punching down on them, hurting them, beating them up, or if things are better and they're in a softer, better place where things just don't suck as much as what they used to. So it's nice to be able to make a video speaking out to whoever's willing to listen and being like, yeah, hey, if you're hearing this, you're not alone. I'm sure we all sit on these thoughts. I'm sure we all wonder whatever happened to so-or-so, or how so-or-so's been, or what so-or-so's been doing, And some of you might still be following, stalking, watching that so-or-so. And to that, I'd say, be careful, Don't go putting yourself in a situation that hurts you more than helps you, Not everybody's willing to be... Not everybody's feeling the exact same way you are, They put distance between you and them for a reason. Or you put distance between you and them for a reason. And you just need to be respectful of how people feel, not just of their privacy, but also of their space. So, yeah, I doubt much of anybody still keeps up with my videos and channels, but I plan on posting a lot more stuff where I am, having the ability to, yeah, or talk about my experiences with certain games or stuff that's going on overall or art and all this extra stuff. It's been a very long time. So to the people that are still around, to the people that might be coming back and finding me or listening to me or watching me, I'd say thanks for the views. I hope that I can relate with some of you or most of you if at all possible, and feel free to leave your experiences and whatnot in the comment section if you want, or use my videos as things to piggyback off of and talk about. And sorry if this video is a little more like long-winded and drawn out. I'm playing a game right now while talking. I figured I might as well, be multitasking. I don't want to just be sitting down at the mic talking about how it is I feel about things like I used to. I'm slowly getting back into the groove, and yeah, that's taking some time. But yeah, that's just some stuff that I wanted to talk about. Kind of treat it as like a public, somewhat of a diary. You don't entirely know me. You don't know what it is I'm going through or what it is I have gone through, how it is I feel about certain people or things that are going on, right? All you can do is listen to me yap. And the same way that I felt about Dude, it's probably, maybe, hopefully, one or two of you will feel the same way about me, where you're like, oh, hey, this person is spitting facts. This person is cooking. Or maybe you're like, oh, brother, when is this guy gonna shut up? In which case, I say never. It's your fault for tuning in. You can always choose to tune out. But some of you will probably hate watch me because you don't completely agree with what it is I have to say. And that is fine. I'm not wanting to be in an echo chamber. I'm not wanting to be in a place where people always agree with how I feel or what it is I say. I'd rather be in a place where some people are like, yeah, man, I completely understand. Yeah, man, I can relate. Yeah, man, I've been there. And then, equally have people who are like, this man doesn't know what he's talking about at all. This man hasn't experienced anything, whatever, right? I don't know. I don't care. My neck hurts. Just figured I'd get to yapping a bit because it's been a bit. There's a lot more I could yap about, as you probably know if you've seen my videos before. But I also just wanted to put out some videos where, well, A, just put out some videos in general because it's been a minute, but B, put out some videos where people can hear my voice. Turns out that there are a good chunk of people who have watched me or have been watching me or might have found me from some other social media platform and have talked about how they want me to post more or hear more of what it is I have to say, or have just been curious about where I've been and what it is I've been up to. And so I figured, why not make it here? It seems like the footage is almost done, so thanks for tuning in. Bye.